Hi, it's Market Monday, and I'm here with my friend
Zoe
Hodgson, and we're going to be doing Market Monday for you this week. Before we get started, ask them to do that.
Please hit subscribe and click the notification bell and follow us on social media.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, make sure you do that. It's really important that you follow us every single week so you know what's going on in the local market. This week, let's start off with new listings. How many new listings have we had year to date?
2,605.
2,605. And you know what? That's 52 new listings that came on this last week. 52. That's quite a few in 1 week. And right now, our listing inventory is 9% higher than where it was in 2024. And it's 21% lower than where we were in 2020. Back in 2020, we had 3,286. And again, now we're sitting at 2,605. That's pretty impressive. Let's now talk about available inventory. So Zoe, if you came into town this weekend and you were going to buy a house, there'd be 865 for you to choose from. Do you think you could find one?
Probably.
Maybe, cool. Well, that's pretty cool because it went down a little from last week. Last week we had 877, so we lost 12 listings in the last week. So inventory is coming down. And compare that to last year, inventory was at 898 a year ago, and now we're at 865. So we're 4% less than where we were a year ago, and we're 34% less than we were 5 years ago. Where were you 5 years ago? How old were you 5 years ago?
2.
You were 2? Wow. So you were in no position at 2 to buy a house, but at 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think you could find something. I don't blame you. Pending sales, we have 1,839 pending sales year to date, and that is up 45 from last week. So we had 45 properties go under contract in the last week. Compare that to a year ago, we had 1,813. So we're a little bit more sales under contract right now than where we were a year ago, but a lot less than where we were 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, we were at 3,241. So we're 43% less than that. So that's the pending sales. Closed sales, we've had 1,811 sales closed so far this year. That was 51. We had 51 this last week. That's a lot. That's a busy week. Compare that to a year ago, we were at 1,781. So we have more sales than we had last year. That's a good sign. Inventory is a little bit less. Sales are a little bit more. It shows a market that is doing really well right now. Compare the number to 2020, we had 2,956 properties closed at this point in 2020, so we're 39% less than where we were right then. Absorption rate, the amount of time it would take for us to consume all of the inventory, so there'd be no more houses for sale, right? If nothing else came on the market and we kept selling the way that we were selling and you did your job and bought a house this week, right, we have 5 months worth of inventory. So that's pretty good. That's down a little bit from last week. Last week it was 5.1. A year ago it was 5.3, so less than where we were a year ago. But 5 years ago we were at 4.3, so we're not quite that good yet, but it's still pretty darn good. Days on the market. You know what days on the market is?
So.
It's how many days it takes to sell a house on average. We had a huge jump. Last week it was 18 days for the month of November. This week it's jumped up to 106. That's a pretty big difference, isn't it? Yeah. Why is that? I think we're just starting to see sellers pay attention to the properties that are going under contract, and they're adjusting their prices. So they might have been on the market for a while, but now they're adjusting their price, getting their price right, and the property is selling very, very quickly once it's priced right. Compare that 106 that we're at right now for November to a year ago. That was 74 a year ago. So we're quite a bit higher than where we were a year ago on days on the market. But again, I think what we're doing is getting rid of the properties that have been sitting on the market for a long time. They're getting priced correctly and they're going now. Compare where we are at 106 to 2020. The average days on the market in 2020 was 126. Let's jump into property values. Right now, the median sale price for a home on Hilton Head Island is $745,591. Do you have that money in your piggy bank if you find something?
No.
Where are you going to get it? Ask mom and dad.
Probably from the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, Tooth Fairy is, like, I've never thought about that. I've always thought about going to a bank, but I never thought about the Tooth Fairy. That's a great, great idea. So that 745,000 is up about 5% from a year ago, where we were at 710,000. And it's up 81% from 5 years ago when you were 2, when it was 411,500. Really, really, really nice appreciation we've seen over the last 5 years. Quick wrap up. These are the numbers that are just, these numbers look really, really good. I feel like we've turned a corner. Inventory right now, we're down 4% year over year. So that's in the right direction. We want inventory lower, if you're a seller, to push prices up. Our closed sales then are up 1.7. So inventory is like a golf score, lower the better. Number of sales is the opposite, the higher the better. So we're up 1.7 on sales. So down 4% on inventory, up 1.7. That's a net of almost 6% change. Prices are up just about 5%, and our absorption rate, that is coming down. If you're a seller, you know, I think the big news is the significant change in inventory. Inventory just keeps coming down, and it's lower and lower and lower. If you listen to the news, they're saying that inventory is going up, but it's not. It's going lower and lower and lower. And you know, the big news for the week is how is days on the market, how that's increased so much. And again, I just think that that's the buyers that are coming on the market pricing their house correctly showed sellers that have been sitting on the market what they needed to do to get their house sold, and they're jumping on board. And we're seeing transactions, and we're seeing the inventory come down. If you're a buyer, you know, it's kind of the same, it's the same information. So just know that the longer you wait, the higher prices are going up. So I think every week or month that you wait to talk to the Tooth Fairy and get that money and buy that house, I think it's just going to cost you more and more and more money. So make sure that you get rid of all your teeth, cash it in for money so that you can go and buy yourself a new house just as quick as you can if you're a buyer. Pay attention as a buyer as to what's really important versus what's temporary. So what's important? Location is important. What you pay for the house is important, because those numbers, what you pay for the house is forever. That's the number that you paid for the house. Things like the kitchen appliances, you can change those. Those are temporary. Things like the interest rate that you pay on a mortgage, you can change that. That's temporary. So worry less about what's temporary and buy those permanent things. Get a good deal on those permanent things. That's what you need to talk to the Tooth Fairy about. National news this week, the big news of the week, in my opinion, is home sales in October were the best so far this year, going all the way back to February. So that was pretty interesting. That a lot of people are talking that the market has slowed down, but it really hasn't. October was just a great month, and we're seeing it in our numbers here locally as well. And then finally, interest rates. It's a mixed report this week. The 30-year fixed was up a little. Last week it was 6.22. This week it's 6.24. And the 15-year is down a little bit. Last week it was 5.5. This week's is 5.49. And so that's it. Ask everybody to subscribe again and then say goodbye.
Thanks for watching Market Monday. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss the local market truth.
Good job. Thanks.